Hey everyone, you're welcome back to today's episode of AI Automation with Cynthia. Yesterday, I promised you that I was going to show you how I automate posting to social media, Instagram specifically. I'm going to show you how to automate a workflow that can generate you tons of Instagram quotes posts that you can schedule as many times as you want or as often as you want. The best part, you don't need to know how to code. And with this automation, you're not going to be writing any single line of code. Before we begin our automation, I'm going to be introducing you to make.com, one of the several no-code automation tools that allows you build powerful workflows simply by dragging and dropping. You don't need to be techie at all to follow along. Let's dive in. Okay, before we begin automation proper, I think it's a good idea for us to get used to some of the basic terms that you're going to be running across through your whole learning journey in automation. So we will start by defining what is automation. So I'll define automation as the use of any type of technology, be it machineries or be it robots or software, to perform human tasks with little or no human intervention. So just think about, let's say, a car manufacturing plant or floor. You have machines or you have robots that do assembling, that do some type of packaging, or that do some type of welding. So these are tasks that humans would have ordinarily been doing, but machines have been used to replace these tasks that humans do, to reduce errors, to save time, and to become more efficient. So whenever you use any type of technology, be it softwares, be it machines, to better manage your time or your resources and reduce costs, you have automated that process. So what is AI automation? Before we break down the definition of AI automation, let's even talk about AI. Since 2022, AI has suddenly become the buzzword, even though AI has been here long before 2022 and the entry of ChatGPT. But AI essentially, basically, in my own definition, you can just describe it as computing power that helps you perform tasks that requires thinking, that requires speech recognition, translating of languages, or even making predictions. So with AI automation, what you're essentially doing is that you are taking automation tools, automation softwares, and you are pairing them up with intelligent AI, such as machine learning, natural language understanding, or AI agents. Now, instead of these automation tools to just simply follow rules, they can learn, they can understand, and they can decide. That is what AI automation is essentially all about. So let's do a quick comparison. Let's juxtapose traditional automation against AI automation, and let's just see what the differences are. So I'm going to be using a few examples to just buttress my points here. So you have in a traditional automation scenario, you want to send emails. You can schedule emails that you want to send to your customers. Okay. So in this case, what you need to do beforehand is that you need to have created the emails that you plan to send and schedule it in such a way, and you give the email scheduler some kind of rules that they would follow in sending your emails. But when it comes to AI automated emails, the AI not only helps you schedule your email responses, it even helps you read your messages and respond appropriately to those messages that you receive. Another example is the example of chatbots. Before now, when you go to a website and maybe they had a chatbot, these chatbots were usually pre-programmed with, scenarios or frequently asked questions that the customers may be asking, and they will use something called keyword matching to be able to provide the right responses to what the question that the customer is asking. But chatbots that are integrated with AI, they understand your language, they interpret what your intents are, and they can generate flexible and appropriate responses to your questions. They will not just follow pre-written rules. They essentially can think for you and respond to your customers on your behalf. One other example can be the example of, posting your content on social media at set times. You have tools that you can use to schedule your social media posting. These tools are not very smart. All they know how to do is they follow the rules that you have given to them on how they should go about posting your content. But with AI infused into your social media content scheduling. What the AI will do for you, they don't only just schedule your content posting, they can actually, for example, write your content or even create the entire content on your behalf, and they will post this content at scheduled times based on your audience data that it has available to it. So that's just a simple way to compare traditional automation and AI automation. So the next slide talks about why automation is important. So why is automation important, if you might ask? So first of all, automation does more than just repeats. Like I mentioned earlier, traditional automation, all they do is repeat a task that have been set, tasks that rules have been set for them. They take those rules and they just keep repeating whatever that task is. But with AI automation, it doesn't just repeat the task. It will repeat the task, definitely, but as it's repeating this task, it is growing, it is adapting, and it is getting smarter from the data that it has access to. Another point is it handles complex work like writing an email. To write an email is actually intellectual work. You need to be able to think, you need to be able to reason, and you need to be able to come up with an appropriate answer to the inquiries that your email might have. So it's intelligent enough to handle this kind of complex work, like writing an email, sorting through inquiries, data analysis, or analyzing images. Another thing that AI automation does for you is that it helps businesses and creators save time and improve quality. I cannot overemphasize this. If you are looking to be more productive and efficient with your time, if you're looking to improve the quality of your work, you cannot avoid using AI or some kind of AI automated process to get your job done. So these are just a few out of the so many reasons why AI automation is important today. So finally, we're going to be learning a few basic terms that you just need to be aware of going into using make.com. Make.com is the automation tool that we're going to be using to learn AI automation. So some of the basic terms are quite easy to understand, but it's important that you understand what they mean going in. So first of all, you have what is called a trigger. So a trigger is the event that starts the AI automation or the automation. So say you have an automated process where you want you want to send emails to customers who have filled out an inquiry form. So the first step in the process is the customer filling out the inquiry form. And once the customer hits submit, the trigger becomes that process of hitting that submit button. That submit button now triggers the entire process. So that's what you mean when you say a trigger. It is that event that actually starts or kickstarts the automation process. Now, the next is actions. So actions are the things that happen after the trigger. Everything that happens after your trigger is called an action, e.g. sending an email, saving data to a Google Sheet, and so on and so forth. The next is called models. Models are similar to actions, but they are the individual steps that you take in your scenarios. So in this scenario that I had earlier described, somebody has an inquiry form that his customers are filling out, and once they fill out, the automated process will take the details of the individual, fill it into a Google Sheet with all the data that is required to respond to the email. Then ChatGPT would craft an email in response to the person's inquiry and send the email. So every single step in the process of automation is known as the models. When we get in, you would understand these things better as I show them to you and describe them to you. It will make more sense to you. And finally, you have what is called your scenario. Your scenario is your actual automation from start to finish, from the very first step to the last step. The whole process is called your scenario. It's more like looking at like a recipe. In your recipe you have different things or different ingredients that you have to add into the meal to have a complete meal. So it's similar to what a recipe is. So that is what a scenario is. By the time we get into it, I'll be showing you all these things one after the other. So these are some of the basic terms that you should just get used to going into AI automation. Now that we have discussed what AI automation is about, it's time to get a hand dirty on Make platform. So you can get to this page by just clicking the link somewhere on this video or in the description below. And once you're here, to sign up, you just click on the login button. The login button should bring us to this page. I will just move this out so it doesn't distract. Okay, so for if you're just signing up for the first time, you need to just click on this button here, and you would have to fill out the sign up form and answer any questions that you may be asked in the whole process. But because I have an account already, I will just go ahead and sign up and sign in again. Okay, so once you're signed in, you would find yourself in the user interface of the make.com platform. Your dashboard will probably not look like mine if you're just signing up for the first time. But not to worry, I would try to explain as much as I can what all these features and tools here mean. Okay, so before we dive into the actual automation that we're going to be doing, it would just be nice for you to be conversant with some of these features that are here, and I'll just quickly run you through some of them. Now, once you get into your account, the first thing you're going to be seeing is going to be your organization. Now, on your organization dashboard, this is what you're going to be seeing. For me, you can see the plan that I am currently using, which is a free plan, and I'm sure that's probably what you're also using. The free plan, for a new user or for someone who's just learning, I highly recommend you use the free plan because it allows you um, save money, or rather not start spending money when you're just trying to learn how to use the application. So now what are some of the features that the free plan allows you? First of all, it allows you 1,000 operations per month. What does an operation mean? When you build your scenario and you run your scenario, that's an operation. So you run the scenario once, that's an operation. So it allows you 1,000 operation per month. And as you can see, I can see unused operations on my own dashboard. This month I've not really used much. I've only used about 10, so I still have 990 operations that I can utilize. Then next to it, you have what is called the active scenarios. Now, what is a scenario? A scenario is essentially your workflow, and you have built a scenario. The next thing you do is to activate it so that it is running, it is live. Now, for the free plan, for the free tier, you only have access to 2 active scenarios per month. So, like as you can see here, I've utilized one. I still have one more left. Then operations. I've essentially explained what operations are. This is more like a graphical interface of what your operations look like. I've only used about 1% of my operations. Then data transfer, that's the data that you transfer when your scenarios run. I haven't really done much, so I've barely used my data transfer, as you can see. Then you come downwards, you see the active scenario. This is the actual active scenario that is live. Here where it shows that I have one active scenario out of 2. This is the scenario that is actually active, that is live. Then down here you have recommendations. Recommendations are more like, for you to come to learn, if you're trying to learn or watch some videos or some resources that you can use to help you navigate through the system, or even be better at what it is that you're trying to build. You can also have a team in your organization. So you can create a team within your organization. This is where you will have all your team members listed. Next, you have your users. So the number of users in your organization, this is where you're going to find them. Then for subscriptions are your subscription more or less is the different tiers that make.com allows you. I mentioned earlier that I'm utilizing the free tier, and that's what is showing here. We have the free tier, and you can see here it shows that you have only 1,000 operations per month. Then some of the other additional features that you get in the free tier include the no code workflow builder. That is the scenario builder itself. You have access to 1,000 plus standard apps, so you have over 1,000 apps that you have access to. You have unlimited users. You can add unlimited users to it. Then you have access to only 2 active scenarios per month. Then 5 minutes scenario execution time. Your scenarios can only execute in 5 minutes. That's what that means. If you want to upgrade There are other tiers that you can upgrade to. You can upgrade to the core tier, that is $9 per month. And with the core tier, you have access to 10,000 operations. That's a lot. 10,000 operations. In addition to all the other features of the free tier, you also have access to unlimited number of active scenarios. Here you have only two active scenarios. Here you have unlimited access to active scenarios, and so on and so forth. So you can just take your time, come by here and look at what is available. But for now, I think for someone who's just starting, the free tier is more than sufficient for you. So we will just stick with the free tier for now. Um, Next, we come to okay. We've touched on the themes. We now come to scenarios. Before we go to the scenarios, I would not go to the scenarios right now. I will come back to scenarios because this is where we're going to be spending 99% of our time on this app. So let's leave it and just look at what all the other features are and what they're used for. For agents, agents are for if you want to build your AI agents or use some of the agents that um, makes available to you, you can come here and you have access to that. But for someone who's just learning, let's just let that be for now. We will eventually come back to that when we get to that topic. Then you now have what is called the templates. Now your templates are um say you want to build something and you don't want to go through the hassle of trying to build everything from scratch. You want to use templates that other people have already created. You can then come here. As you can see, there are tons and tons of them. If you keep scrolling, there are tons of them. I've never really had to use any of them because I just prefer to build mine from scratch. But who knows? You may need to be able to, or you may need access. You may need to be able to have access to some of these templates, and you may want to use any of these templates. You are free to come here and pick a template that you want to use. The next part is connections. So now your connections are more like your integrations, the different apps that you have been able to integrate to your workflows. You would see all of them here. So as if you look at mine, you see that I have a Calendly integration. I have Facebook, I have Dumpling AI, I have Notion, I have YouTube, and so on and so forth. So this is where you're going to find all the integrations that you have done. Now, apart from integrations, there's something also called webhooks. Webhook is very similar to connections, but with the connection, you already have a native connection, more like a plug and play connection on the Make platform that you can use to connect to your favorite apps. But sometimes you may have scenarios where your the app that you want to connect with is not available on make.com. You can now use what is called a webhook to make that connection. So they're essentially the same. It's just that for one, for the connections, they are readily available for you on the platform to just more like drag and drop and make a connection. But sometimes you may have situations where you want to connect an application that doesn't have, is not available on the Make platform, and you would like to still connect with it. You can use what is called a webhook to make that connection. Your keys are more for security. You want to create keys that you want to use for some kind of connection. This is where you come and you create maybe your own secret keys that you use for your own connection. Devices, if you have any device that is connected to any of your workflows, you'll find it here. I have a scenario that is running where I can, from my phone, just click on a button and it will trigger this scenario. So that is why you can see that there is a phone connected here. So data stores, data structures, custom apps, you can literally connect all of them on this platform. So, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of these things, a lot of these features, you may not actually use, you may not use them. I rarely use any of them. But here in the scenario is where you're going to be spending your time. This is where you're going to spend 90%, 95%, even 99% of your time. This is where you probably are going to be spending all your time. So now, in on this page, these are all the scenarios that I have on my page. These are all the integrations all the workflows that I have built on my page. You can organize your your scenarios, because sometimes this can get a little messy. As you can see, it's already beginning to look messy. It can get a little messy, and you may just want to be able to organize them so that you are able to, you know, manage your time and manage yourself properly. So you can come here, click on this button, and create a new folder. Let's call this my tests, and save it. And now you see that I have a new folder called my test. So any projects that I have that would go under that, I would make sure that when I'm building, I just go in there and I create a new scenario, and it would create it within the same folder for me. So let's go back to all our scenarios. Now we want to now build our first workflow. What do? We come to this button and we click on this button called create a new scenario. Once you click on this button, it brings you to a new interface. So this is where you're going to be doing all your work. You are going to be confronted by the, I don't know what to call it, the biggest, or the biggest purple button that you've ever seen. But before we deal with this, let me just quickly walk you through some of these other buttons that are here. So now you have created a new scenario. You want to name your scenario. You want to be able to give it a name. This is where you come to and you give it a name. You call, let's just give this my first project. Now there's really no naming convention that you have to adhere to in naming of your scenarios. It's really up to you. However you want to name it, you name it. It's fine. Now, when you come down here, you see this button called the run once. While you're building your scenarios, while you're building your workflow, you want to be able to test your workflow. You don't want a situation where, okay, you have to build the entire thing before you are able to run it or go live without even being able to test it. This button here allows you test as you build. As you're building, you click on run once, it will run it as if it's the way it would run if it were live. It will run it for you, and you will see whether what you're building is working or where it is failing. You can also come here to schedule your workflow. Say you have a workflow where you want to be able to send yourself some kind of notification at a given time, maybe every 3 hours, every 4 hours. You can come here and you schedule your scenario so that every 3 or 4 hours, as you wish, your scenario will run. Then next is the save button. You are building, you want to save your work. This is where you do it. Or you just simply type Control and S and it will do essentially the same thing for you. Now is where you have your scenario inputs and outputs. There are certain things that you may need to include into your scenario. This is where you get them done. We will not touch on this right now. When we get to that point, I will definitely be talking to you about this so I don't confuse you. So let's let that be for now. Then same thing with the scenario settings. Scenario settings, I generally do not touch the scenario settings. I think they are fine the way they are. But if we need to change any settings in the scenario settings, I will definitely be letting you know. So for now, let's just let that be. Notes, you can take notes or you can create notes for each scenario that you are doing. Say you want to be able to come back to it later to, look at what it is and understand what it is that you're done or you've been doing. You can actually take notes with the notes feature, or you can take notes that you want to probably share with other people. You can do that here. Then you can easily also go back to previous version. That's what this button does for you. I don't use it and I don't recommend you do. Then auto align. Auto align allows you to align your workflow. Sometimes you may build a workflow that can become quite complex and you're trying to align everything properly, but it's just not working out, or it could just become a little bit tedious or cumbersome. All you need to do is just click on auto align, and auto align will just bring everything together. As we go forward in our building of our workflow, I will show you. You would see how we use the auto align feature. Now the next is that these three explain workflow. Because we have not built any workflow yet, we can't really utilize explain workflow, but this button here allows you to be able to explain the way your workflows work. Then you can also export blueprint. Your blueprint is your workflow. You have built a workflow and you want to share with other people or share with your teammates. You can actually export your workflow to other people that so that they can utilize it. Or you can also import blueprints. You can get blueprint for other people. Like I was talking to you when we are talking about the templates. These templates are actually blueprints that other people have created, and you want to import them to your own workflow. You can do that here just by clicking this button. Now this is another way to access the models that are available. So you have, when you click here, you can see these are all models that are available. And if you scroll down here, you see that there are tons and tons and tons of them. Make has I think they have over 2,000 um, applications that you can integrate with here. So this is another way to get to that. These are the most commonly used one: the flow, the tools, text parser. If you don't want to go through the process of getting them from here, you can get them from here. For instance, look at the tools here, the tools model here, it's also here. Look at the flow control, it's also here. So this is just another way to get to this. So now, having said that, we can now, or having understood the way the application looks like, or the user interface looks like, it's now be easy for us to now go in and try to build our first automation.